As I recount this, chills still dance along my spine, each memory vivid as if etched with a blade. It began innocently, a late-night run to Walmart for necessities. The store, vast and dimly lit, was nearly deserted. I remember laughing at myself, thinking how a horror movie could start this way. If only I knew how close to reality that joke would come. It was around 11 p.m. The fluorescent lights hummed above, casting long shadows between aisles. I navigated my cart with a list in hand, focused on the mundane task of choosing the right brand of coffee. That's when I felt it. A gaze, heavy and intent, prickling the back of my neck. I spun around, scanning the aisle. It was empty. I laughed off the feeling, blaming my overactive imagination. But as I moved from aisle to aisle, the sensation grew stronger. I wasn't alone. Turning sharply, I caught a glimpse of him. A man, nondescript at first glance, but his eyes, they were fixed on me with an intensity that made my blood run cold. He pretended to browse, but it was clear he wasn't there to shop. My heart pounded, urging me to leave. Attempting to shake off the unease, I convinced myself it was all in my head. But as I moved through the store, every glance over my shoulder confirmed he was there, lurking just out of clear sight. My unease turned to fear, a fear that urged me to confront this silent stalker. "Can I help you?" I demanded, more bravely than I felt. He merely smiled, an empty gesture that left me more frightened than reassured, and turned away. That should have been the end of it. But as I resumed shopping, trying to shake off the unease, I saw him again and again. Always a few aisles away, always watching. Hoping to end this unsettling game, I hastily made for the checkout, abandoning my full shopping list for the sake of escape. He followed, maintaining a careful distance that made my heart race. At the self-checkout, his proximity became unbearable. "You forgot this," he offered, presenting a bag of coffee I'd eyed, but not picked up. His knowledge of my actions, masked by a veneer of politeness, terrorized me. The confrontation unfolded with a suddenness that left me reeling. As I navigated the near-deserted parking lot, the staccato of my heels on the pavement was the only sound piercing the silence. Then, abruptly, it wasn't. Another set of footsteps, heavier, deliberate, synchronized with my own pace. My heart lurched. I knew, without looking, who it was. I turned, my breath catching in my throat. There he was, no longer content with watching from a distance. His approach was slow, methodical, as if savoring the fear that radiated off me. "Why are you following me?" My voice was a mix of anger and fear, betraying the panic that twisted in my gut. He didn't answer, his silence more terrifying than any words. As he drew closer, instinct took over. I dropped my bags, my hands balling into fists, though I doubted they could do much against him. "Stay back," I warned, my voice steadier than I felt. He paused, a smirk playing on his lips, and for a moment, I thought he might retreat. But then, with a swift movement that belied his earlier calm, he lunged. The world narrowed to the adrenaline-fueled seconds that followed. I sidestepped, driven by sheer survival instinct, and my elbow connected with his side. It was clumsy, more luck than skill, but it made him stagger. Seizing the moment, I sprinted towards my car, fumbling with the keys. His footsteps thundered behind me, a relentless echo of my own desperate race for safety. I managed to unlock the car just as he reached me, his hand gripping my shoulder with a force that promised nothing good. with a strength born of terror, I twisted free, diving into the car and slamming the door shut. He pounded on the window, a snarl of frustration on his face, but I was already reversing, the engine's roar drowning out his threats. I didn't stop to look back until I was safely away, the distance between us growing with every heartbeat. Once home, the adrenaline that had surged through my veins ebbed away, leaving behind a trembling wreck. I convinced myself it was over, that he wouldn't dare to follow me again after such a close call. The real horror began after that encounter. Notes started appearing, each more invasive than the last, detailing not just what I did in Walmart, but also my routines outside of it. Fear became my constant companion, every unknown face a potential threat, every shadow a hiding place for him. When I finally gathered the courage to go to the police, they promised surveillance and investigation. But the notes continued, each message a taunt of my helplessness. "I'm closer than you think," one read, chilling me to the core. I wish I could tell you I stood my ground, that I found a way to end this terror. But truthfully, I started to unravel, seeing him in every crowd, jumping at every unexpected sound. My life became a series of escapes, never staying in one place too long, always looking over my shoulder. I'm trapped in a suspenseful limbo, caught between the fear of what might happen and the terror of what already has. My stalker remains at large, his presence a specter that haunts my every step.